Good morning.
Hey, how are you?
Hey. Hey. Debbie, look how bold. You've got your bold gems on.
Gems, yes. Debbie has all kinds of gems.
Bold crystals.
I'm dressing every single day so I can keep the dry cleaner in business.
Oh, there you go. Hey, whatever we can do to support our community.
Right.
Fantastic.
Everything is, so I have this, like, I don't know. I feel like this is a total reset, and I am so happy. It's almost like right?
No, go ahead, Joey. Sorry.
I'm just so happy with the direction that I see things going in.
Yeah.
Hey,
Well, isn't the entire state of New York coming to you guys?
yeah, that's one thing. That's not bad. Okay, we'll take those buyers. But B, what an opportunity this has been to really dig into command at the right time. The coincidence of everything being as ready as it is at the right time is like mind-blowing, phenomenal, awesome.
Yeah.
It's kind of crazy. Our governor just quoted, Matt, I think it was on Friday or Saturday, that lower Fairfield County, but most of Fairfield County, real estate office phones are ringing off the hook with New York people. It's crazy.
Yeah, it's been. I don't know if you guys are posting it everywhere. I mean, it's I've been seeing it on my Zoom feed as well, or my Facebook feed.
Yeah, definitely.
What a cool opportunity indeed.
We'll take what we can get right now.
Indeed.
For some reason, this whole setup had all of a sudden the waiting room enabled. I don't know why. Normally it's not, and I had to undo it. Yeah, it was weird. I think they're getting in now. Yeah.
Right on.
So I forget, you're on the Kansas side, right? You're in Kansas.
Correct.
Yeah. Are you essential? Were you guys able to do everything, or what's the story?
Yeah. So the mayor in Kansas City deemed real estate essential. So as long as we were following CDC guidelines from the beginning, we were able to continue on with business. Now, certain activities were deemed non-essential, like in-person open houses. So the RMLS created some specific rules that superseded the city's guidelines.
Right. Yeah.
So Missouri and Kansas both they just deferred to the mayor of Kansas City, and they never real estate was never deemed non-essential in either Kansas or Missouri. So, we've been working just modified.
Yeah. Now, what about your office? Are you guys talking about reopening, doing a phased reopening, or what's going on?
The offices have been open, and just no one's been in and using. Like, they weren't forced to shut down. It just you weren't allowed to congregate. I mean, there were limits to those that were in, and no in-person meetings or anything like that. So agents could come in and do whatever they needed to do and then come out.
Okay. Yeah, the state is sort of reopening, first phase of reopening on the 20th, and we're going to do something on Tuesday, the 26th. Start opening. Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah. We're in phase 1.5 right now with Kansas. So that's fascinating.
Yeah, right. Totally.
We were ready for phase 2 until last week, and then the governor said, "No, hold on, 1.5. We're not ready yet for 2."
Wow.
We've got decimals. It could be 1.75 tomorrow.
Yeah, right. Could take a while.
And again, we can only control what we can control, right? So let's jump into it. I mean, it's 10:04 or 11:04 your time. We had an appointment at 11, and let's jump in. So I'd love to hear, what are some wins that we've had this past week? So if you're on the call here and you're on mute, you may choose to unmute yourself and share with us what went well this past week.
I unmuted all you guys because we're a small group.
I think that for me, what went well was that you kind of seeing the fruit that you did like 2 weeks ago, so it kind of like reminds you, all right, you got a little bit of a treat, but now put your face back in the grind. Now, if you can combine the hustle plus the treat, then you'd be good,
Okay.
So I think you and I wrote more offers than we have been.
Yeah.
But now it's time to combine offers and
More to come.
make believe you've got no one on the bench. Make believe you've got nothing going on. And now get into that mentality.
Right on. Thanks, Carlos. What other wins?
Jen, any comments from your group about some wins lately?
Yeah, they keep having a tremendous amount of wins, actually, offset by, just mental challenges. We did have an amazing Mindset Monday today. What is I think the biggest win is the surprise that they all keep getting that business is finding them. And then, being receptive and, not so surprised that you blow it, but especially some brand new people that started literally just like a month or two before the virus, they've had the hardest challenge because they don't have me guiding them literally every day physically. And yet they've been able to put rentals together and do things while this has all been happening. And for me personally, I got 3 phone calls last week from clients of mine saying, Jen, I have got to get out of this house with these 3 kids. You've got to find me a bigger house. I was like, okay, no problem. So, I think the aftermath of this, will just cause a whole bunch of business that people aren't really anticipating. And my biggest takeaway is you better get ready. You're going to be busy.
Yeah, hope so.
That's what I feel.
Yeah.
Anyone else? What showed up for you this week that you weren't expecting it was a win? Or what showed up that you were expecting that's a win?
Debbie, you had a win. I don't know if it was last week, but when you had that mortgage come together.
Oh, am I muted, unmuted? I don't know where I am.
You're good. You're good.
So I had the first COVID almost fiasco where the sellers had signed the closing papers, and literally within the hour, we heard from the mortgage company that the loan was going to be denied because income had dropped. And first thought, second thought, it was like, oh my goodness, what are we going to do? I got on the phone with the attorney, got the team working together. The attorneys and the mortgage people figured out how to fund that loan, and we ended up closing it. But it just was a demonstration to me that you have to take that extra step. Don't accept the first reaction and go after it and get a different result. And we closed last week, 2 days later than planned. So it was awesome.
Wow, that's good. Congratulations. Really good. Other than that, what are some other challenges that you all are dealing with and working on overcoming?
We talked about this on the staff huddle this morning. Last week was week 8 for us, and this is week 9, that I don't know, I felt like week 8 was a little bit of a hiccup as far as mindset and positivity and just keeping it going. There's a little push through that. And I know Jen, her Mindset Monday is always perfectly timed to discuss just that. But as a whole, I just got that sense, and making our care calls, our agent care calls amongst staff, we got that feeling from the people. And I'm sure that's just a dip in the road and just getting through it. But, and that may happen again, right? As we continue through this, because we're not getting back to any kind of normal yet. So we have to be prepared for that.
Okay. So energy. energy and
Yeah.
mindset. Okay,
Yeah.
Debbie.
I'm going to add perspective. We watched Simon Sinek this morning and his short video that's entitled "There's No Going Back to Normal," which is one of my favorites. I actually had watched it a couple times this weekend. And the point that everybody keeps saying this is so unprecedented. Well, some of it is unprecedented, and yet the world has gone through this kind of an experience multiple times and come out the other side. And we've come through similar situations multiple times and come out the other side different. And I had a conversation with an agent yesterday who was struggling with virtual open house and said to me, I just want to list and sell properties. Well, guess what, buddy? That's not the new. We get to do new things. And so let's all figure out the new and learn our new skills and move it forward, because it's going to be different.
Yeah. Yeah. You bring up a really great point. And the thing is that, you know, the different stages of grief, some of us are grieving the new normal.
Right.
And,
That's right.
you know, being in love with what was will keep us from moving forward. And we can rail against it. We can have a tantrum, if you will, around it. We can attempt to enlist supporters of our thoughts around it. And it's not going to change the environment that we're in. Right. Remember, we can only control what we can control. And if we're spending energy attempting to change something we can't control, we're number one, like, you know, like you mentioned earlier, we're going to have a challenge with our mindset and our energy. Right. So we have to focus on what we can focus on and provide value in the best way possible. Now, I've got a little bit of an agenda to discuss, and yet I want to ask you as well, how can I bring the most value to this call right now? Based on, you know, last week with, you know, with Cody and James and the other coaches that were, all the things that were discussed, you know, how can I help propel you into this upcoming week? Ooh, excuse me, microphone. How can I help propel you moving forward in the best possible way? What do you need most right now?
Comments, guys?
Well, I think that realtors are never comfortable with change
Right.
if they were successful in the past.
Sure.
You know, they weren't happy with going paperless. They're not happy with any kind of change whatsoever. So how do we make them feel comfortable and safe moving forward slowly, you know, but with guidelines? Do you know?
Good point, Robert. And I'll say, Matt, I mean, last week, I think we saw a little bit of a side of Matt that was kind of different for us. I mean, you were really pointed a little bit on edge about what you believed in. And I think
now we have a third of the people on the call today. I see.
Don't worry. I'm sure they're just busy. But I mean, just be real. I mean, you got your agenda. Tell us what you want to bring to us this week. I mean, just be real, like you always are, Matt.
Yeah. So Robert, you know, just to address that, and I think what you bring up is important, and yet it goes back to growth and comfort. And, you know, in Bolt 2.0, and they share with us in step 1, there's a graph that shows our comfort zone is in the middle, and on the uphill slope is growth, and then backwards is decay. Now, what happens is when the environment moves from underneath us and we're in the same spot, instead, you know, when the whole world changes and we don't change, we go into decay. If we fight the changes, we decay. Growth equals change. Change is discomfort. So we have to lean into discomfort or lean into the market of the moment only to just stay where we were. Does that make sense? Like, because if we're not the one moving, like if you're an individual and the market's the market and you want to move towards growth, well, you lean into the uphill battle and there's discomfort. However, if the world moves and we haven't, and we do the same things, we actually do and make less. So what's interesting in this environment is we have to do more to make the same until we get this figured out. And so we can not like it. However, if you'd like to make the same amount, then we have to lean into it. You don't have to change. The thing is, with the agents on our team, and Gary will say this too, hey, guess what? This year, if you don't want to make the same amount, you don't have to. However, something else has to change. And that was the conversation that I was going to bring in today. And that was about the economics and the finances of our energy. Our energy is a resource. Our time is a resource. And our income and our revenue is a resource. And all of it requires self-mastery. All of it requires discipline, right? In order to manage our energy, in order to manage our time, and then in order to manage our money, we need discipline. And when we go from E to P in any endeavor, we've got to follow the systems, the models, the tools, the strategic options, along with focus and accountability. Last week, we shared with everybody several tools that is going to allow you to survive and then thrive. So if you take a look at last Tuesday's tools, we shared with you the economic worksheet for you to be able to identify your own personal expenses and then see if they're essential, absolutely essential, and those are the greens. And then going through in the yellows, those are the would like to have, they're nice, would like to keep, and yet, maybe we put them on pause for a minute. And then the reds is the absolutely non-essential things to cut immediately. The question that I ask you is, how many of you actually took that exercise, went home, opened up all your statements, printed out your statements, and then had 3 colored markers? And just start going through and highlighting greens, yellows, and reds. And if you did that, did you go in with a target percentage or a goal of what to cut? Because Gary tells us that every dollar of cash that we save now is worth $10 on the other side of this. Because whoever has cash, when this shifts, has opportunity.
Mm-hmm.
So the thing is that as individuals, in order for us to survive first, we've got to get real with our expenses and cut everything that we can. And then in order to thrive, we've got 2 things that we have to do. We've got to hold our income and our expenses accountable, right? Through red light, green light. And then we've got to follow the models of what top businesses and professionals that accumulate wealth have done forever. And one of the tools that Gary's given us over the last 2 years is this here, is the profit first method.
Mm-hmm.
And if you haven't been following or reading Mike Michalowicz's profit first method, you do not pass go, do not collect $200, get into this right away, immediately, because it's going to change the way you look at your business and your income, right? Because oftentimes we say sales minus expenses equals profit. However, and Mike says that he says that entrepreneur, we have an affliction out there called entrepreneurial poverty, because we operate a cash accounting system where if we look in the bank and there's cash, we think we're good, and yet we're not, right? So last week we talked about making sure that we really understand the 30-30-40 model, and then we've got a system. Profit first is one of those systems, right? And so
that is on our calendar for this week.
Excellent.
Wow. Yeah.
Yep.
Good. One of the tools that I'd want to share with you just personally that's changed my world this past year is that, we often say we operate on a budget, and we share with you the chart of accounts from MREA2 in the last 2 sections as well. And that's cool to know where things should go. And yet, as far as like when you listen to any podcasts or any seminars or anyone who really understands their own money, and understands how to work these systems. One of the things, if you ask them, what's the one thing that you did that made the biggest impact? They all said, we followed a budget, right? Following a budget. And that's not just knowing what goes where, it's understanding the rules of how money works. And there's a system out there that I use personally, along with Profit First, because Profit First is a system that can fall within a budget. The budget that I use is called YNAB. YNAB, and it stands for you need a budget. And just like how Profit First equation is backwards from what we normally would understand is, sales minus expenses equals profit. The principles in YNAB are also different in the sense that you can only allocate money that you have, not money that's coming. And it's those true expenses that we have coming up that we know are coming that we don't budget for today that cause us to continue to go down the path of debt, or what we call the credit float. And as business owners, especially when we have income coming in chunks, if we're not really truly focused on true expenses and future expenses, actual and true expenses is what they call it in the system, we're going to continually be playing catch up and going back and forth. And so the 3 tools that I really wanted to leave with you today, this week, to give you the most out of what's coming is, number 1, go through the personal monthly budget worksheet. And don't do it once. Do it once. Next week, go through it again. Open up your statements again. I just found something that I've been paying $9.99 for the last 4 years. And it kept sliding into an expense category that I thought I had accounted for. And I go, wait, why am I paying for this? It was a Kindle Unlimited account, which allows me to like exchange 10 or 12 Kindle books at a time. Well, every time I saw it, I buy a lot of books on Kindle and Amazon. I just thought it was me purchasing actively. No, it was a $10 passive spend that I didn't know. Well, it's not a lot, and yet 10 of those is several $1,000s a year, right? So get through, use that tool personally. And just like you saw some examples last week, this is such a cool tool to share with your database and say, hey, as a business owner, here's one of the things that we're doing right now in this shift, in this market. We're really paring back our expenses. This worksheet has allowed me to cut $600 this month, over 10%, of our monthly is gone. If you'd like to access this and you'd like to go over and talk about it, here it is. You can use this tool as an opportunity to connect with your database and provide value in that way. And then really understanding the profit first accounting system, the profit first method, where it's sales minus profit equals expenses. And then begin to start with just 1% and then build up to the 40, understanding the 30-30-40 model. And then lastly is, if you're having a challenge with your income coming in bulks or groups and whatnot, and you find yourself getting caught up and then getting hit with something that has to go on a card, or you get caught putting something into credit, or whatever that is, you may choose to go and take a look at YNAB, or I think Dave Ramsey has something in there, like every what's his system? It's like every dollar or something.
Yeah, it's not every dollar counts. It's every, I think it's just called every dollar.
It might be, right? So this system again is similar to that, in that that you assign your dollars activities first, right? And there are 4 rules of money mindset when it comes to that accounting system, and it's really easy. If you go to ynab.com or go to YouTube and search YNAB, YNAB, I promise you it will change the way you see your own personal finances. And then you can also apply profit first in YNAB for your business as well. And it'll give you freedom and control. I mean, there's the beauty about using the red light, green light system is that when you've accounted for it and it's within the margins, you can make decisions with confidence and no guilt, right? Now, some of you on this call may say, my expenses are minimal. I've got no other expenses going on in the business, and yet I don't have enough revenue to pay myself and cover my expenses. So the question then is, have we maximized our bandwidth on the dollar productive activities that cost nothing, right? The question is that we've got 2 forms of generating business: prospecting and marketing. And at first, when you don't have money, prospecting is time intensive, low money. Marketing is leverage, right? When you've got profit, or you've got that 30% expense that you can put towards marketing, or the 10% in that 30% towards marketing, then you can leverage that later. If your expenses are low already, if you've cut things to the bone, and yet you don't have enough to cover what it takes for you to live personally and run your business, the question that I got to ask you is, with the time that you have, are you doing the dollar productive activities at a high enough level? And oftentimes the answer is we haven't been as efficient as we think we are, right? We could probably do more on the lead gen part. We're not picking up the phone or having the conversations enough, if we're being really honest with ourselves, right? And going on Facebook and boosting an ad isn't prospecting. That's marketing. Remember, prospecting based, marketing enhanced. We earn the marketing when we prospect, right? We earn the right to boost the listing when we got the listing. However, we have to get the listing through the prospecting. Does that make sense?
Yep.
I have two things. One is command related, and it is 36 touch. 36 touch is magical, and 36 touch is so doable in command. It's like, oh my gosh, everything I've always thought I was doing is available now. The second thing is, I'm a coffee drinker. I drink a lot of coffee, and I like good coffee. I don't like junk coffee. I had been doing for years K-cups. K-cups are fine. You know, it's cheaper than going next door and buying a $3 cup of coffee. It's like a 75-cent cup of coffee.
Right.
However, I just went to a French press, which makes better coffee, best coffee in the whole world. And oh my gosh, I think I drink my coffee for 2 cents a cup. It's like nothing, because I buy a pound of coffee. I can buy expensive pounds of coffee, and it's delicious. And that's the kind of cost cutting that has been great. I'm going to say one more quickie that just dawned on me this weekend. Bonus points on your credit cards can be converted to cash. Huh, I didn't know that. I just paid my credit card for 2.5 months on the points that I wasn't using.
There you go.
Imagine that. Cash in
So,
pocket.
go ahead.
Carlos, did you have something?
No?
Oh, I thought you did.
So I would also say that if you're going to do the personal monthly budget worksheet, anything in the A column and the B column, consider cutting, and at minimum, call to renegotiate. Same thing with the A column. If it's essential, that's fine. Call and renegotiate. Ask, just simply, I literally called all of our accounts and asked for, hey, is there anything else you could do to reduce what it costs us? Or is there anything you can we get a better interest rate? And simply asking, over half of them said, yeah, you qualify for 2% less or 3% less or 1% less, just by asking. So interrogate the reality and then go after it and renegotiate. Take control of your finances, and then take control of your budget, and then take control of your profit. Have a profit goal. All right, y'all. I've got less than 3 minutes to jump off. What did you hear? What was your aha? Share with me. And then I will see you, I believe, next Monday. Are we still meeting next Monday on Memorial Day?
No, sorry. No.
All right. So if we need to move it to like a Wednesday or a Friday, we can do that.
Okay. We'll touch base with you. Whatever works for you, Matt.
Okay.
I can interrogate the reality, Matt. That's awesome.
Yeah, dude. Thank you, Adonis. Interrogate reality. We got to get real and get right. Interrogate reality.
Totally.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. I mean,
Oh.
asking may not be getting, but it's worth asking.
Yes. Yeah. If you never ask, the answer is always no. There's nothing to lose when you ask other than interest.
Yeah, I've always heard the expression, the answer is always no until you ask. Same thing. Yep.
Right on.
I've seen it in my life.
Appreciate you guys. Listen, have an amazing week, and don't be late tomorrow. Gary's on the call. He's going to be kicking us off first thing.
Yep. Thanks, Matt.
Thank
Tell
you for what
everybody,
you're doing,
tell
Matt.
your friends.
Okay.
See you later, Matt. Thanks a lot, man.
Bye.
Thank you.